Hello everyone. Hope you all are doing good. Today I will start with constructor. I think you might have gone through my last session. So let's start with constructor. What is constructor? How it works, and the other uh, in and out of constructor. So let's let's talk about constructor. Before that, let me share my screen. My screen is set, right? So my screen is shared here. You all might be able to see. Okay, fine. Hmm. Okay, so we are back to the screen. So you all might have seen this program yesterday. I was talking about inertance and polymorphism, how inertance and how polymorphism are used. Right. So this video is specially for beginners, those who are trying to learn Java, maybe college students, freshers, especially for beginners. And this is I'm not taking any session. I'm specially recording for beginners, which will be uploaded on YouTube. This I am the only person who is talking here, and I am the only person who is, recording it, and no one is here. No one else joined in this meeting. I am the single one here. Today we will discuss about the constructor, right? So let me close all this which we have here. Now I will take very simple example. We just uh, relate it to some real world, right? I'll create a package com.example.constructor. So right click new. Others package. Go to select this package. So package name com dot example dot package here. So this package is created com dot example dot constructor. So we'll go new. We'll have new one class here. Right. We'll create a class here. So let's say we will create a class called we will create one more class called student. Right. We'll finish it. Let's go to person. Let's have some property here. Private string, right? Private string sender. Private string, or maybe we'll keep string, so we can keep it. We can private string demo. Not demo, sorry. private string, name, gender, age, height, uh, private string. What else I can have? Person ID, yeah? Let's say, right? Let's generate setter getter for this. Okay, and let's go to student, extend here, extends person. I would have here private string student ID. Let's generate a student ID. Since it is extending person, so it will inherit all other properties. Why this error is there? It is not saved or what? Why this person is showing error? Let's see. Person cannot be resolved to a type. Okay, fine. It is small p, right? It should be capital P. Class name should be capital P. Yeah. So it is. See, person student will inherit all the properties of person. Now I am going to discuss about the constructor here. Nothing to do with the inheritance. Might some concept of inheritance might come here, but for time being, you just ignore about the inheritance. Right? We'll discuss. I'll create a main class here. So income class. See, I'll tell you one more thing. If you have seen yesterday when I right click, I go to new. It was showing me class, project, everything. Now it is not showing me anything. Right? It is showing project, example, and other. So click on other always. So you will have this widget. Here widget you type class. It will show you class. Select this class or Java class or the class first one, and then click on next. That's how you do. main main connected main class. So main class is created, right? So see what is new operator and what is constructor. We will discuss it. We will discuss it here. So new keyword what we use to create an object. It is the keyword which help us to create an object of a class. And how it create an object. It always call the constructor to create an object. Right? So here I will have the main method. See, I'll show you something here. So let's say I'm going to create an object of person. I'm going to create an object of person. What created? 72 person dot set name. Sorry. Right? Here I'll print this only. Okay. So see, this object got created and I'm able to set the name and I'm able to print it also. I will let me run it fast, then you will say, yeah, I'm able to print it also. Whatever. Running on. See, I'm able to print. Now you should have one question or you should ask one question to me. See, where is the constructor? See here, there is no constructor. What happened now? JVM during runtime by default it assign a default constructor to the class where there is no constructor, and it use that default constructor to create an object of the class. So what is the default constructor? It will be public. Okay. person constructor will be always same as class name, and this is what your default constructor. Right? What is this error? Yeah. So this is what it is, the constructor. Right? Constructor will be always the same as class name. Now you can have definition, you cannot have, you can also don't have definition, right? So I'll just put a SOP here to show you that it is invoking inside the constructor. I'll write your default constructor while creating an object. I'll write now. See the difference. Nowhere I'm calling that method person. See inside default constructor and then Satya. See here nowhere I'm calling that, right? This is how the constructor. What I will do here, I will just put a debug point here in line number 6. Okay. Or maybe something I will do here like this. So yes, so then class. What I will do, I will put it in line number 6, the debug point. Now I will debug it as Java application. Right? So see, it came to line number 6, and line number 6 it is bold, right? As you can see, it is bold and it is holding there. It is, see, the pointer is also marking here, right? Now what I will do, I will, yesterday I told you like this one, step into and step over. So I will place on F6 to step over. So I came to line number 7 now, right? Again I will do F6. See, line number 7 I executed and then went to line number 8. When the person equal to new person is executed, that time it printed default constructor. So you are able to understand now, when person equal to new person, at that particular time it is invoking the constructor and executing the piece of code inside the constructor. Which constructor it will call? It will call default constructor, right? So person equal to new person is calling default constructor while creating an object. So that's how you got the default constructor. My execution is on the person on the line number 8 still, right? So it is not printing anything. If you go to line number 10, then we'll see. See, now I'm doing F6 again. It went to line number 10, but it's not printed. When it will go beyond line number 10 to 11, it will print F6 again. It went to line number 11, it printed name Satya. Now program got over. See, this is the reason why in previous session I told you how to debug, to show you the invocation, of constructor. So this is how very simple to explain how constructor works when the constructor is got called. You are able to see it, right? Now there is another question. What if, can I make this constructor as private? Yes, always you can make it as private. See, I made it private. But what will happen? I will not be able to create an object of that constructor. I will not be able to create an object of that class, not constructor. I will not be able to create an object of that class because the constructor is private. See, that is the reason why it is. Now, in student class, implicit superconstructor person is not visible. See, in student class also, it started showing error. You know the reason behind that? Because student is extending person. Here inheritance comes. So keep in mind what I'm telling now. Be alert. Huh? This might be you all interview question. See, when student extends person, right? And person has a private default constructor. So student will not be able to extend person because student is not visible. The constructor is not visible to, sorry, not student. The person constructor is not visible to student class. Let me remake it again. Huh? Let me rephrase the sentence again. I told something here and there. So let me rephrase it. See, from the beginning, what I did, I made the constructor of person as private. The private will be only visible inside the class. Private as a specifier will not be visible outside the class. Right? So now student what? It was extending or it was inheriting person. Earlier it was no error. But when we made this person constructor as private, default constructor as private, student became what? Student became or student class started showing error. The reason behind that student was inheriting person and indirectly or directly student was also using this person constructor and person constructor is not visible. That is the reason student started showing error. If you go to this error, it will show implicit super constructor. Person is not visible for default constructor. Must define default and explicit constructor. You must define. If you are not defining, then it will be error. So what I will do for your time being, I'll show you one more concept here. Student, you know, public. I'll create the default constructor for student class also. See, even if I create the constructor for student class, this constructor will say implicit superconstructor person is not visible. Must explicitly invoke another constructor. Right? So what is invoke another constructor? We'll discuss that after some time. Let me go to person class. Now person constructor is private. I will not be able to create an object for this person class. This class is now dead. Not no one will be able to create this class. You know, let's say we will have one more constructor here. That is called constructor overloading now. Method overloading. Polymorphism came again in the picture. Person here I will pass the name. String sorry. String name, string name. So see, let's go to main class. In main class, I'm not able to create an object using person, new person. That is default constructor. But if I pass it here, Satya, I'm able to create an object because the parameterized constructor in person class is not private. It is public, right? So here I'll say parameterized constructor, right? Let's come to main class. Here other setting name, I'll set age. What is it? Right? Here I'll print both name and age also. Details, right? So this is what system.println person system.println name person.get name and person.get age. I printed it here, right? Now again the debug point is same, line number 6. First I will run it without debug, then I'll run it using debug. I'll show you the difference. Right? See, main class execution, then parameterize constructor Satya, then name null and 43. See, person.get name I'm telling, so it is showing null. The reason behind that, when I am doing this parameterized constructor, I am passing the name, but I am not setting it to name parameter. So when you are using parameterized constructor, why the parameterized constructor are used? Constructor is always called during the creation of an object. And if you have to initialize some parameter or set up something during the initialization of the class, then you need this parameterized constructor, and you can put your piece or logic in the side parameters in this parameterized constructor. So here this dot name equal to name. This is another keyword which is used to refer attributes available inside that attributes or methods available inside this class, right? So this dot name equal to name. What I'm doing here, this dot name equal to name. I'm trying to set the methods or parameters. Now if I go and run this main class, what will happen? See, Satya and 43 coming, right? Yes or no? Yes, right? So let's do something now. Debug. Do we run it as debug? Debug as Java application. Proceed. See, it is showing error because the student class is still error, right? So see, it came to the line number 6. Now I will go F6. Step over to the next line. I did a step over to the next line, right? Now line number 7. I will next go for next F6. It is saying parameterized constructor Satya, right? So you are confused. Where is that main class execution? It is gone. This end, this is here. Don't get confused. It is printed. So parameterized constructor Satya. So see what happened when I was in person, new person, and executed that line, came to line number 8. That time it involved parameterized constructor because I am passing the parameter. So I'm passing the parameter. You see in the person class, parameter is passed as name. Its name. It is doing the set, and then it is coming out. Now I'm only what I'm doing now. I'm only trying to set edge. That is 43. Next F6. Next F6. Step over. Right. See name Satya and 43. Right. So this is how it is working. We got how when is constructor involved and how it works. Right. So now let's see. I will go to the student class. In student class, what I can do, to make it work super. Then dot super this. That's all. Semicolon. Super. Let's say something will pass. We will pass the name, right? Yes. Okay. Now I will what I will do. I will go to the main class. I will call. I will call the. I will create the. I will try to create student. Right. I will try to create student object. Student. See, I'm not passing any parameter. I just created an object. Let me run it. What it happens? Just see. Parameterized constructor Satya. Right. So let's see. Let's do one another thing. Let me comment it here. All this piece of code. Let me comment it all this piece of code ever so that to give you clarity other than the past line. Yes. So let me run it now. See main class execution and then line number 13 student equal to new student. What it did, it created an object of student class. Right? Now I will take this. I will not print anything here. I will not set any variable here. What I will do, I will comment for person everything. Right? So I'm being only person equal to new person Satya. Rather passing Satya, I'll pass my wife name Madhu. Let's see. Okay. See, person class parameterized constructor, I passed Madhu. And in student class, I have not passed anything. Right? In student class, what I am doing in default student constructor, I am just calling super Satya. When you do like this super and bracket and we do super and bracket, basically you are calling parameterized constructor super. If you remove this bracket, right? If you remove this parameter here, what you're passing, that means you're calling default constructor of super class, right? So see, I am passing Satya here, right? And what happened here? If I go to person, if I go to person, it will call this parameterized constructor. And if it will call this parameterized constructor, it will set the value and will come out. That's why Satya. So what we will do, we'll debug it. And we will do this time not step over, we'll do step in. Debug as Java application. Oh, it came. Okay. So what happened? Where is the debug? Okay. Let me start it again. Stop this program and debug it again from beginning. Line number 6 is the debug point should be. Yes, system.out. So that you will understand everything in detail. Debug. Right? So see, the program started by seeing this here symbol. You can see the program has started, and it will go and stuck in that. It will go and stay in that particular line that is F6, right? So in line number 6, I don't want to step in. I just want to step over to line number 7. I will press F6. Here I want to step in. So what I will do? I will press F5. Where it gone? It is not going. So let me click here. Step into F5. See, when I clicked on step into on the Eclipse uh, tool, so I went to here. You can see my mouse pointer step into here. I clicked. So I went into the person class, line number 9, person, the parameterized constructor, one single parameterized constructor. And then what I will do, I will just go step over. I will not do any more step into. See, it printed. System.out.println, line number 10, it printed. Parameter constructor module. Then it is trying to set the parameter to the property, private property string name. Next, step over, step over. Where it came to the main class again, right? Now again, I will go for step over. It will go to the student line number 13. Now I will do step into, see how it goes. It came to the student class, right? You can see student class line number 6, super Satya. Now again, I will do step into. It went to person class, right? Line number 9. Then here I will do step over because I don't want to go into more step into to the object class or someone else. So I will do step over. Line number 10, it printing, right? It will print here now Satya. See, it printed, it will 11, this number equal to name. Next step over. It will come back to the student class. See, line number 7, below super. Again step over, it will go to the main class. Again step over, it will end. Right? So you can see how the constructor flow is happening one after the other by using debug. Most of the time, the interviewer will ask you the constructor uh, questions. So you need to be very careful. This is how it is, right? So what you have seen. So if I'm creating the object of student class constructor will be called. Then student class constructor, what it will do? Student class constructor, what it will do? Student class constructor will call superclass. In this case, student superclass is person, right? And what person will do? Person will call it superclass. That is object class, right? So this is how the constructor invoke happens while creating an object using new operator. So inheritance concept and polymorphism concept again are molded in this particular concept, right? Or used in this particular in this particular approach. So what I will do here, I will make this. See, now I'll tell you one more thing. Since this person default constructor is private, how we can create an object of this person? Let's say you don't want outsider to create an object of this person, but you want to create an object and give them. Then you can make this constructor private. Here you can write another method which will be public, right? Which will be public get person object. Is another way where constructor is private, how you can get the object of a constructor of that particular class and use it. So here, public return person, right? So here you will do your return new person. Inside the same class, you can create the object and you are returning it, right? This is a clever way to do it. I'll come here. I'll write here. See, person. Line of 15 is person, person equal to new person. It's not going to work. Here, what I will do, I will use that person method. This method, public, static, I'll make it static, and I will use this method. So how I can do it? Static keyword, you don't need an object or you don't need to create an object to call the method if that method is static. Just use the class name and then get person object, right? So here I will make it P here because already person is there. Take this print statement below this, line number 16, and set person as. Here what I will do, I will set person name also. Right? So here I'll comment out all these. All this I'll comment because I don't want to get people to get confused with the console output. These all are commented. Now I'm using here for also for. Okay. Main class execution, default constructor, name Satya and age. So now we are able to get an object using default constructor also, but that our class is that object is created inside the person class and it is returning from there. That this is another approach of doing or creating an object. This is how. See, there are so many design patterns which take this approach where the constructor is private. One is singleton design pattern where the constructor is private, and you know we used to get the object by this approach. But this is not called singleton pattern because I'm not implemented in that pattern style. I'm just giving you an example singleton pattern or object factory pattern. These are the patterns uh, which used to create an object of a private constructor class and return it back or return it to the some other classes where they need the object to use the property or behavior of that particular class, right? So this is what a simple example of constructor. I'm going to what else I need to tell you. Okay, we'll generate different parameters constructor and I'll show you that. Let's go to below this class. Let's generate, you can generate constructor also by going this approach rather writing any piece of code. Right? Here, constructor from superclass, constructor using field. Here you select all the which all field you want to have in your constructor and then generate. Where it got generated. Yeah. So see here it got generated. This constructor got generated here and it has all the parameter, right? It has all the parameter and it is setting all these parameter also here, right? So it depends on you which all how many types of constructor you need, what all constructor you need. Accordingly, you can create constructor. If you don't need any constructor, don't create anything because JVM will or Java during compilation will add a default constructor to the Java class for creating an object. So you don't need any constructor, then you do not require to create. You can go. And now by this you would have understood the constructor can also have access specifier, right? And this, what is the use of the super? And this keyword you also might have understood. You can comment out this super because this is anyway will be added by default. This will be added by default by the JVM. So no need of worrying about this super function or so here let it let it call uh, let it super, then let the default will be calling default constructor. So let me remove this out, right? And let me go to the person class, make it public. If I make it public and go to student class, there will be no error, right? You would have understood the concept of constructor, right? And I will have a beautiful example. I'll give you one more example. You know, simple example when you interview what people ask. Nowadays they're asking, or I don't know, but we used to ask. So we created, I'll create few class with default constructor. Class A, finish. Class B, finish. This is one beautiful example, just see it. Class C, finish. You want me to add more class? Or let me last class I will add it one more. Class D, right? So we have this class. Now let's go here, have a constructor, public A. On system.out.println A, right? And same thing will print everywhere. Only the difference will be constructor name. So here it is B, and here it is print is B. Here it is C. The constructor name will be C. Here it is D. The constructor name will be D. Right? So you have all this constructor. Now, what you're going to do it, D will extend C. C will extend. I like this. Okay, C will extend B. B will extend A. Right? So let me comment out this piece of code, line number 15 to line number 20. Line number 21. I will do A equal to new. What will be the output? Can you tell me? A equal to new A. If I run this, what will be printed in console? Can you tell me? Let me run it. Only A. Right? Now I will make it D. D. New D. What will get printed? See, by this time you should be able to answer A, B, C, D. Right? A, B, C, D got printed. See, what happens? I'll tell the concept. Already I explained it. I will go to explain it again. So A class is the parent class of all the classes, that is B, C, D. So whenever A class is the parent class of all the object, when you create an object of A class, A is only inheriting superclass of Java, that is object. So there is nothing to print. It will only print A. But when we are creating D, when we are creating the object of D, trying to instantiate D, so D superclass is C, C superclass is B, B superclass is A superclass is an object class, right? Or the Java object class, father of all classes, right? So what will happen when you create an instance of D, it will call D constructor. D constructor will call C constructor. C constructor will call B constructor. B constructor will call A constructor. A constructor will call object class constructor. Object class constructor has nothing to create. So it will execute object class constructor and then come back to A constructor. In A constructor, we are printing A. Then it will come back to B constructor. In B constructor, we are printing B. Then it will come back to C. Then come back to D. No, it is a kind of stack of constructor. When you call, when you create an object, it will create a stack and accordingly it will pop out. Right. So last class was the object class. It popped out. Then A, then B, then C, then D. So this is how the concept of constructor. So that's how this is how I want to explain you about constructor today. We will end here this session, and that's all I want to tell you all today. Nothing more. No more explanation today. Maybe next session I will explain something else. Today we are today we are done with our session. If you have any question, any concern, and you want to, you want to ask me your queries, you always can put it in comments. You always can put it on comments after watching the video or watching video, or you can always send me mail also. I'll reply back. Thank you, everyone. Yeah, before ending this session, I just missed to tell you to tell you something. I have uploaded one video which is creating REST API using AWS serverless architecture. You people can go to that video. You can watch AWS serverless architecture, and you'll be able to create uh, REST API without any headache if you follow my video. Yeah, that's all. Thank you, everyone. See you in next session.